What's happening, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, people of all ages? Thank you for tuning in to the Welcome to Cooperville podcast. It is proudly brought to you by Midwest Meals. Hashtag Midwest Fit Fam. We are in the fall season. Everybody takes their foot off the gas pedal, starts not giving a shit about much, especially when it comes to the food you're putting in your body. I get it. I love turkey gravy and stuffing as much as the next guy, but you got to make sure you're taking care of that 80% of your diet to keep yourself and your goals and your health on track. And that is where Midwest Meals comes into play. 13 rotating meals with your macronutrients on there, your calorie count on there, so you can have good meals in an instant, nearly. It's like 1 to 3 minutes, literally. Pop it in the microwave. It's already ready to heat and eat, and it saves time on cleanup. A godsend in my house. And if you're one of those folks that goes in and maybe just hits the drive-thru during lunch, imagine not having to get in your vehicle from work, drive to fast food place XYZ, wait in line with everybody else, and then feel like crap the rest of the afternoon. Midwest Meals, you got it ready to go. Fancy container, you take it into work, you pop it in the microwave, you're eating at your desk, feeling good and energized and ready to take on the rest of the afternoon's challenges. It's so simple. Go to MidwestMeals.com, look at their selection of meals, find out what you like, build your own, create that subscription. Then every Monday they ship you your meals, they come right to your door, and boom, food for the week. Also, if you are a listener of this show and you're listening to this right now, use the promo code Cooper at checkout and you get 10% off your first order. I'm telling you, you will never turn back. It has changed my life. Midwest Meals and MidwestMeals.com. Also brought to you by Violent Gentlemen Hockey Club. Yep, it's feeling like hockey season, and it is hockey season. You want to be looking good, representing your team, representing the fact that you are a hockey fan, because I feel like we're in the minority a little bit. Now, obviously, huge football fan, but hockey fans, you kind of get like a little shunned, and you like it that way. And that's why the brand and the attitude deliver the things you want to say the most. If you don't know what I'm talking about, head to violentgentlemen.com and look at all the articles of clothing they have, their apparel lines, their hats, their hoodies, their shirts, and it goes on and on. It's an attitude thing, and you're going to love it. Plus, 15% off your first order at violentgentlemen.com using the promo code Cooperville15. Of course, the Welcome to Cooperville podcast is fueled by Monster Energy, Monster Hydro, and Muscle Monster. Monster Hydro has literally changed the way I look at hydration. I look at how much fluid is going into my body and really has helped with the output and production of what I do throughout the course of the day. So go find it in your local grocer and or convenience store. Stock up the flavoring. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It is so good. And there's also those Monster Ultras in a variety of flavors. We're talking no sugar. We're talking no calories. And a great afternoon, kick you square in the ass. Hashtag Monster Podcasts. Jim Lucas is my guest on this episode of the Welcome to Cooperville podcast. Jim is the man behind the woman behind Chip Magnet Salsa. Started in a kitchen, started in a kiosk, went off to area farmers markets, and now they are taking over the salsa industry. Great content about hustle, overcoming, and going after what you really want. The Jim Lucas episode of the Welcome to Cooperville podcast, it starts right now.
Welcome to Cooperville.
Do you know what's fun to do in Cooperville? Pack up your shit and get the fuck out!
Listen. The Welcome to Cooperville podcast. On demand anywhere quality podcasts are available. And some places where cheap podcasts are available.
At the local gas station has some.
Subscribe, get updates, feel better about your life. Welcome to Cooperville.com.
Check. Welcome to Cooperville. Make sure you use a coaster. The wife gets upset when we leave rings on the tables.
Jim Lucas.
Hello.
My guest. Welcome to Cooperville podcast. Welcome to the lab, man.
Awesome, man. This is great. Thank you.
Good to
for
have you
having
down
me.
here.
I appreciate this. You're like the biggest growing thing in the Eau Claire market right now, and I gotta jump on this bandwagon real quick, buddy.
I think you're in the wrong studio. I don't think that's somewhere else.
Oh shoot, never mind.
Because we're growing globally. No, I'm just I kid because I can. But no, Jim Lucas, Chip Magnet Salsa, the man behind the flavor.
I am the
not only
man.
that, but I think I actually have some of the
you do.
Bloody Mary mix.
I see that
there, which I should dive into.
I am the man behind the woman.
Is that
Behind the flavor, exactly. It's not me.
You're the The fluffer? Is that what you
Pretty
are?
much.
Pretty much the fluffer.
Yeah, I'm the one that does it. This mic keeps sliding down on me.
Yeah, there's a twist the knobby. The knobby might be on the other side.
I don't want to make too much noise.
It's fine. We'll get that.
You can edit that out.
Yeah, we can. My producer will get on that.
Wait a minute.
Wait. First thing? I can't afford nice headphones for my guests. I sure as hell can't afford a producer just yet.
Hey, listen, but you sound nice and crisp in my ears right now.
See?
I do like that.
It's aesthetically, they may not be the most beautiful headphones, but sound quality wise,
it's there. Definitely there.
Definitely 8 out of 10. Definitely an 8 out of 10.
Oh, I would put it that high up. Yeah.
Sevens. We're rolling sevens over here. But the reason that and Jim's noticed this because Jim has followed the podcast, noticed that there's been a turn in the conversations that I've been having, and I reached out to him, and we went back and forth because entrepreneurship, I think, and finding individuals in any market, in any city, in any size, people that go out and are doing the things that they want to do with their lives. It takes a lot of you have to find drive, and you have to find some sort of, like, sometimes things are going to suck and it's going to be rough, but if you actually have the desire to go and be the fluffer behind the woman, Jim went it just told me, I just found this out, was selling cars. Was a used car salesman. We were reflecting back on the Dan Beck episode, Dan Beck of Midwest Meals.
That guy's amazing.
25 years old and just killing it. And both of us reflecting back on when we were 25 and how that was not our wheelhouse.
No.
We were existing in a different plane.
A plane that didn't really think about anything.
No.
I don't even think I was an adult yet at 25.
No, I was doing radio, so I was just drinking beer and talking big. And wait.
That's all you're doing now. Wait.
Now I just do it at home. So I feel like adulting is that I do it from the friendly confines of my own house.
To the entrepreneurship, like you said, doing the things that you want to do. Mm-hmm. Haven't you noticed doing this that in order to do the things that you want to do, you're doing more of the things you don't want to do just to get to the things you want to do?
Yeah.
Isn't it? It is a constant grind.
It's amazing how, people always have, they teach you this as a kid. It's something I tell my 9-year-old. The whole dad speech, you can be whatever you want, work, equals results and all these other things. But, when you get to a certain age, I'm not sure when that is. I think when you're supposed to start, as we just talked about, being an adult.
Yeah.
And whatever that you quantify that as, you have a job and you have a house and you have a kid and you get married and you go through this kind of monotonous. Every day you get up and you do the thing and you get it. Maybe you go to a job that you kind of like. Maybe you go to a job that you hate, but the money's good. And you come home and you do the family thing, and it's kind of lather, rinse, repeat. You take your 2-week vacation a year. You go to location XYZ, or you have your vacation spot. You take the kids to soccer, and then one day I think you wake up and you go, well, I guess living my
20 years are gone.
Yeah, where did that go?
I have no idea.
You're sending your kids off to college or off to their next pursuits in life. And
my daughter got married 2-3 weeks ago. She got married end of August. So it's over a month. Wow, see, time flies.
Time flies.
But, my little girl, married, 2 kids. I got 2 grandkids.
Wow.
And like you said, I'm 43. Blink of an eye. It's like, where did it go? I have no idea.
And one of the things that I realized, and I'm sure you went down kind of a similar path here, is one day you kind of wake up and you start to wonder, what if you turn all the times you said that you can't do something, or you gave yourself a reason or an excuse not to follow an idea, not to pursue a passion, because it's so out of
countless.
It's out of reality. It's other people do that. Mm-hmm. Other people start their own companies. Other people start their own businesses. Other people take things that they're good at and hobbies that they're into and turn them into like paying jobs and things. So they wake up and they go and do things they love. A lot of people just go through the thinking process on that.
Right.
Sometimes, what I went through personally was being in a comfort zone for 2 decades. Whatever was going on in my life, and I touched on this on a previous episode of the podcast. Anything else chaotic that was going on in my life. My relationships could have been shit. My eating habits could have been shit. My drinking habits could have been amazing. One constant that I always had was my career. I started at 19 in radio, and I just kind of grew through the system, part-time to full-time to, full-time to promotions to full-time to program director. But that was always there. It was like this, this is the one thing I don't have to worry about. Nobody can say I'm not an adult because I have a job and I've been doing it for, forever.
I call that the constant.
Yeah.
Everybody has that one constant in their life.
And you feel that makes you comfortable.
Right.
Even if everything else is kind of going to shit, you're like, well, at least I still have that.
Yeah.
That'll always be there.
And that's, for me, my constant has always been my wife.
Yeah.
And I mean, she even has it. I have it on my keychain. Constant. It's just a word we live by. She has it in Latin on her arm. In declinatus. You have that one constant, and that gives you your comfort.
Absolutely.
No matter what else is going on, you always know you got that one thing that you can go to.
And you always can rely on that thing to be there.
Yep.
And the crap is going to happen, and you're going to go through shit storms, but you're like, God, I got that thing.
What do you got now?
Good. When I was forcibly removed from my position, that sounds violent.
It does. It sounds like they picked you up and threw you out of the building.
That didn't happen. I mean, contrary to popular belief.
Let's make a video of it happening like that.
Hindsight 2020, I really wish I would have just, done what every other human being does in life and just take video of shit that's happening as it's happening. But
right.
I digress. I didn't. But when that...
You're like Michael Douglas and falling down.
Yeah. I had an hour moment that's what I thought about.
Yep.
Yeah. But when that constant goes away, and you have to really reinvent yourself, and you have to kind of figure out, well, shit, I have my base set of talents, I think, and you have to find a way to pursue other avenues. And when you're able just to kind of say, fuck it, I'm gonna follow my path, my dreams, what I want to do. Create your list of whys. Why on earth would you start a podcast? Why on earth would you? How do you make money at that? Well, I'm working on that.
I would never start a podcast.
See, it's not on your list.
No.
I would never start a salsa company.
Neither would I.
Fluffer. He's a fluffer. But when you're able to kind of do it and you learn to kind of give two shits less about what other people think about what you're doing.
Isn't it freeing?
Oh my gosh. I've never felt better at age 39, a well-worn 39. I will throw that in there.
It's all that drinking.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. 100%. 100%. But I've never felt better. I've never felt more motivated. I never felt more like belief in life and its existence and the things that human beings can do, because I was one of those people that was like, nah, it's bullshit.
Yep.
No, nobody does that.
They got lucky.
You go to your fucking job.
Yeah.
And you get done and then you hate it. And then you come home and then you have, 12 beers and then you get up and do it the next day.
Yeah. And the people that made it, that guy knew a guy, or he got lucky, or it was some other reason that I can't have it.
Yeah. I liken it to watching sports.
Yeah.
When you watch, and I know I let you in my house even though you're a huge Cubs fan.
Hey, come on now.
But your Packer fandom does dominate over that. So
totally.
You're in to win it. But when you look at athletes and when you watch a lot of sports, you always fans will sometimes say that, like, oh, he just, why is he there? Or even the guys that are superstars and are phenomenal.
Yeah.
You go and you see their 90 minutes or you see their 2 hours on the field, and what you don't see,
it's the iceberg.
That's where the magic happens.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the iceberg underneath the water Titanic. How'd that work out?
Yeah.
But you don't see the work and the effort. But when you see the glory, and that's what they're out there for. Amazing things really, really can happen. An opportunity will present itself if you put the work in. And I think, to get to your story about, finding this, obviously you're constant.
Yeah.
But I think even having that constant is like belief in that constant,
mm-hmm.
and being able to kind of go all in and take it to the level that you guys have taken it. Tell me about this, the path, the journey from we're going to be, we're going to be out at the farmer's market every weekend to, well, fuck it, we're not there anymore.
Yeah.
Where are we going now?
Yeah, we got fired from that gig, but I'll get to that part because that's a fun story.
That's coming. That's called a tease in the podcast world. Thanks. You keep listening.
It's foreshadowing. Like you see in the shows. No, this started. I mean, I had no, I ate salsa.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody eats salsa. You don't really think about it. And my wife and her mom, when we lived over in Wausau, made salsa back in, must have been 2001, 2002, and they had a little kiosk at the mall, just like we do now. Jeez, if that wasn't foreshadowing. But she was pregnant with my son. Mm-hmm. So the hours were long, and she made salsa, and people liked it, but it never really did anything. It never became anything, and it was a lot of money that I had put in and got no return out of, and I was like, oh, I'm good with that. And her birthday back in 2010, her birthday is November 25th, and in 2010 it just happened to be Thanksgiving morning.
Oh, gotcha.
And she woke me up. She woke me up and said, I know what I'm going to do for some extra money. Now, you have to remember, we raised 5 kids.
Yeah.
We raised 5 kids, and she's been a stay-at-home mom for the last 20 years.
Wow.
Because we thought that was important. Mm-hmm. I worked 2 jobs, 3 jobs, whatever it took to make sure she could stay home and be with those kids. Yeah. So we did that, and she came to me. She goes, I figured out a way to make extra money, and we were going to open a daycare. I said, why don't you take some kids in the house? You can watch some people's kids, and it'll just add some money to the house. She said, I'm going to make salsa, and I'm going to sell it at the farmer's market.
Yeah, and you're
at the end of November. She's like, I'm going to make salsa and I'm going to sell it at the farmer's market. And I now I'm not the nicest guy when I wake up, believe it or not. And I said, honey, I love your salsa, but nobody's going to buy it because it's got to be, because of her, it's going to be non-GMO, no genetically modified organisms. It's going to be organic. It's going to be expensive. She's going to use all the best of everything and put it in there, and then she's going to be like, here's my jar of salsa. I'm like, honey, I love your salsa, but nobody's going to buy it. This is the dumbest idea you've ever had.
And happy Thanksgiving.
Right. She says I said this last part, the dumbest idea. I don't remember ever saying that. So she drops it. Well, she didn't drop it that easy. I mean, she was pretty mean to me that whole day. It was the worst Thanksgiving I can remember. And she blames it on me.
Well,
but
I can see that.
She wanted the money to buy yarn. She's like, I need some extra money so I can buy yarn. And she hated asking me for money because I still had the house payment. I still had the car payments. I still had to make sure there were groceries and all this other things and raising the kids. And she wanted money just to spend on yarn so that she could knit, which she knits phenomenally. She does a great job. If you follow her on Instagram, you see that stuff.
Yeah, you said she has a room. Like there's a room.
A separate room in the house called the knitting room. She's got yarn on the walls. She could open a store. If you know anybody looking for yarn, they could come to my house. I just got to put a cash register in there.
we can find one of those.
Exactly.
We'll go on eBay. We'll find one right now. I understand because I have a room in my house that's besides because my wife has all of her clothes in the upstairs like master closet, so my shit ends up down here. But this is like my playroom. This is totally my podcast room. So I understand. Yarn, podcast, same thing.
No.
No.
Probably the same expense, though. I mean, I'll tell you what, she's got a lot spent on that. So, the ADD kicked in again. Where were we?
She hated you Thanksgiving.
That's right.
2010.
She dropped it. Never heard another thing about it. I was like, all right, dodge that bullet. May, June rolls around, and all of a sudden there's like $125 missing out of the account. And I'm a hawk when it comes to, I know what's in the account because I know what has to be paid and stuff like that. So I'm following up. $125 is gone. I'm like, hey, where'd this go? I bought stuff to make salsa. Fuck. Why? Well, because I'm going to make salsa and I'm going to sell it at the farmer's market. I don't give a shit what you say. That's all I heard, really. And it was true. So she went to her first farmer's market, which was at CVTC in their parking lot on a Tuesday.
Oof.
And she went with 24 jars of salsa. And it wasn't 24 jars like you see on the shelf right now. It was, some of them were 4 ounce, some of them were 8 ounce, some of them were 16 ounce. Shit, some of them were in, I think, blue plastic Tupperware things,
Whatever was laying around the house.
Yeah. And she sold all 24.
Wow.
She didn't sell 4. She had 7 left. So she brought those up to work at me. I worked at a dealership here in town, and she brought those up, and my people at work bought the other 7. So she sold out the first week, took that money, put it in, and made more for the next market, and she sold out the following week. It's just like every week she was selling out. And then she got invited to the Phoenix Park Farmers Market, which, I mean, if you look at Festival Foods where we were at on Sundays and CVTC where we were at on Tuesdays, those are like AAA. And you're playing AAA ball and you're doing pretty well. And then you get the call from the majors and they're like, hey, we want to know, we're going to try you out. Why don't you come in for the Wednesday and Thursday market? We're not going to put you quite on Saturday yet, but we'll give you Wednesday and Thursday. So she's doing a farmer's market on Tuesday at CVTC. She's doing Wednesday at Phoenix Park, Thursday at Phoenix Park. Then we picked up Friday down in La Crosse. Saturday we didn't have anything really, but then Sunday was Festival Foods here in town. And then she got invited to Saturday at Phoenix Park. Man.
The call up.
Wow, the call up. It was huge.
Yeah.
I'd go set her up at, 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. We get the table set up. Then I'd go to work because I work Saturdays in the car business. And she'd sell there. And I'll tell you, man, that first year, we did everything out of our house. We were running under the pickle bill in the state of Wisconsin, which means you can make X amount of money. I can't remember quite the number. You can make X amount, and you can sell it only at farmers markets, and it has to be in a sealed container, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
We did that, and by the end of the year, I was like, we surpassed that number. You can't do this again next year, or we're going to have to cut it off, or we have to get a licensed kitchen. So we looked into the licensed kitchen thing, and we originally got a place over off of London by Subway. Yeah. Put $4,500 into remodeling and setting it up and rent and things like that, and the city came in and shut us down. They're like, neighbors were complaining that you were working on stuff. What are you doing here? They told me. Then they tried telling me I had to do $14,000 worth of firewall repair on this building and that I didn't own. Right. And I'm like, wait, no. So we thought our dream was crushed right there. But there's my consonant. She's like, we'll figure it out. I said, how are you going to figure it out? She talked to Brian Dowdna at Eau Claire Economic Development, and he's like, talk to Jack Kaiser over at Banbury. He got us a meeting with Jack. We went in, looked at a place, 1,050 square feet. We put our first kitchen in. I went in, remodeled it, set it up, and it was $600 a month. Yeah. Great deal. So we lost our original $4,500 that we put into the other place, which almost closed us anyway before we even opened. And we grew out of there. I'll tell you what, if anybody in that Eau Claire market is looking for something, Banbury Place is where it's at. Yeah. You're never going to find a better landlord, a better property owner that's going to work with you than Jack Kaiser. The guy's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I like to give him the props as often as I can. So we grew out of there, and I was still working. I can't tell you how many nights I was there until 11, 12 o'clock with my son sleeping on a cart, that was in there while I was making some salsa or pulling orders or doing something, trying to get everything ready for the next day's farmer's market that she had. Because that second year, we were doing 15 farmer's markets a week.
Damn.
And that was between...
That's crazy.
Yeah. My wife, we had people hired to do farmers markets all the way up into Minnesota at the Nicolay Mall there. They had a farmers market there. We were in Menominee, 2 in Madison, 2 in Wausau, 2 in La Crosse, the bunch around Eau Claire. I mean, we were just everywhere. But that's how you build a customer base.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we struggled through that, and then we got kicked out of the Phoenix Park Farmers Market.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, that was... They came to us and they said, here, they have a 51% rule. 51% of the items sold at the farmer's market have to be local. Well, it's not possible with our approvals. We use a canned tomato because the pH levels have to be absolutely correct. And most tomato producers will have about 20 recipes that maintain their pH so that everything goes through fine. We just look for a non-GMO item and go from there. Well, one of the board members owned an organic farm. And we were using Muir Glen organic tomatoes at that time, which you can find them on the shelf anywhere. It's what my wife started with. They were like, well, we sell an organic tomato and we can can it for you. So if 51% isn't that, then so you either have to buy from us or you have to leave.
Wow.
And then we're like, no, it doesn't work like that because we have state approvals. We have, we work with the Department of Ag. We work with FDA. We have licensed recipes. We have all of this. You just can't make that switch.
Right.
And they allowed another producer that was not local, but their products they couldn't buy local like that, so they allowed it to pass. And my wife put a question out or a comment out on Facebook saying, hey, this is their new rule. Why don't you petition them to make sure we can stay? Mm-hmm. Then we had a meeting with them, and their story changed. People only bring so much money to the farmer's market. And if they're spending it all at your table, the other vendors are complaining because they're not making enough money. They made us move our table back some weeks because there were so many people in front of it that they couldn't get through the middle. Everybody was, I put air quotes on that, everybody was complaining about us. Nobody complained about us except the board members. So they kicked us out. And that right there was like you leaving radio. That was our forced change. We were like, what are we going to do? I mean, we were making $1,700 on a Saturday, which that pays a lot of bills. That covers your rent. That covers your expenses and things. What are we going to do? We had a forced change that we were like, well, I guess we just got to get more stores. Because at that time, we may have had like 5 stores. Right. And I was working still full-time at the dealership. My wife still had the kids at home, and we were trying to figure it out. And we were like, well, I guess we're just going to get more stores. So I left my job. I was like, all right, boom, cut it. Right. End of market season, I left my job, and I went and I got stores. I had 5 stores or so when that started. By April, I had 96.
Wow.
Jeez. Yeah. And that's just walking into a store, handing them a couple jars of salsa, saying, here, try this. I think you're going to like it. Let's get it on your shelf. Following up and having a ton of energy. I had a lot of energy back then. Right. Not so much anymore. I had to go back to work, though, because we still weren't making enough. And the problem is margins. When stores, they're selling it for, everybody thinks that when you buy something at the store that the person that makes it is making a lot of money. Right. Well, the store is making a lot of money because they have the avenue for it to go out. Yeah. They have the building, they have the people, they have the space, they have the customers, they have everything. The stores make more on our product than we do. Hell, the distributors that I have now make more on our product than we do. So I got 2 people making more on my product than I do, and I'm the one doing all the work. And by doing all the work, I mean sitting here talking to you.
And this is a strenuous part of the gig.
It is. So that was our forced change, just like your forced change. It always, I believe that we are meant to do something. Mm-hmm. And if we're not doing that, the universe is going to take care of it. And it's going to align things and say, listen, I'm going to make you do it. Right. Here you go. Boom. And it's like, so we figured it out. And that was the end of 2012. So then I went back to the car business because we weren't making enough because of margins, things like that. And I can't tell you, 80 hours a week between the two. I was working, 50 hours a week at the car dealership, putting another 30 to 40 in. My day off, I scheduled my day off to be Wednesday so that I could go do markets over in Wausau. Mm-hmm. So I'm doing markets in Wausau on Wednesday. I'm doing markets in La Crosse on Sunday. And we were both doing the Friday market in La Crosse at Cameron Park in La Crosse on Friday nights. So we're all over the place, and it was the grind. Everybody always says you got to do that grind. Well, that was it. That was it. I mean, it wasn't easy by any stretch. A lot of broken friendships over it too, because things happen. So we did that, and we kept growing, and then finally in 2014, I left the car business altogether and haven't been back. Right. But now, I look at it and I think about where we've come from. My wife went to a market with 24 jars that she sold out of. We do 50,000 a month now.
Jeez, it's just the numbers are insane. I mean, just
ridiculous.
In what that's a 9, almost 10 year period. Yeah. And a lot of what we talk about here on the podcast and what it's kind of turned into is about this thing they call hustle. And a lot of people, and especially people, when we fall into a routine, I think of being in our comfort zone and having that constant. And even though the shitstorms come, you kind of grin and bear it because it's fine. Tomorrow will be something different. Tomorrow will be the same routine. But if you have a moment or have that epiphany, and you're like, no, and for you, your wife had the epiphany. You told her she was dumb, and then you realized, okay, she's not.
No, once it started selling,
I
saw it, and she said to me, she goes, you know how I know that this is a good thing. And this was back in still 2011, probably.
Yeah.
She said, because you're up at 11 o'clock and you're putting all the labels on the tops and the bottoms of the jars.
Yeah.
That tells me you believe in it. And you, Jim, you don't believe in anything unless it's going to make money.
That's what I think it takes, though. You have to be willing to put in that 80 hours.
Yep.
You have to be willing to not have an off day. And people don't want that.
They don't know what it's like.
People want to live in this, they want to have the fantasy world.
Yeah.
That's when people start throwing out lucky, and they start throwing out blessed, and they start throwing out, well, here's why. But what they want is they want to do the weekend, or they want to do their work week, and then they want to have their Saturdays, and they want to have their Sundays.
And they want to have their 2 weeks of vacation.
And they want to have their vacation time. They want to have their done at 5 or done at 1 or whatever time of day that they're done. They want to have that time. And whatever it is that they decide to fill that time with or waste that time with.
Yeah.
And then sit on the fence and just want, like, oh man, I want to be able to do, how did they get there? You have to realize, just like the athlete, entrepreneur, business owner, boss.
Yeah.
If you want that, it's not fame and fortune and glory.
It's a lot of hustle.
It's all day, every day, dreaming about it, thinking about it, and especially for you, 5 kids, just marrying off one of your daughter. You have to really learn how to manage your life. No, you don't. You don't have to. You just.
I didn't manage my.
Didn't have to. No.
No, I had my wife.
Oh, see, the constant.
I had her. She did it. She handled the kids. She handled all that.
Amazing.
This was her business. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell you how many times she says she hated that she created this, because it's, and I believe, I agree with her. I created my own prison. Mm-hmm. I'm there, and I'm there Saturdays, I'm there Sundays. I had last Sunday off, but I think it was the first Sunday, my first day off in like 28 days.
Wow.
But that's normal. I can't tell you the times, but she handled the family. Mm-hmm. You have to have that counterpart.
Yeah.
If your spouse or your significant other does not support what you're doing, mm-hmm. which this is where I was lucky, is we were doing the same thing.
Right.
Because she was able to handle the kids. She was able to handle the house. She was able to do all that so that I could put the hours in. I would rather any day of the week put the hours in so she didn't have to. Mm-hmm. But it's it. There's the constant once again. And I can't tell you how many employees we've had come and go over the years that they're like, oh, we love it here. This is a great place. This is just like every other employee.
Right.
But then, the next best thing comes along. Mm-hmm. And then they go to that. You can't blame them if they're improving themselves. Okay,
right.
More power to you. Go ahead. You deserve it. Do whatever is going to make you better. And they move on. And we've always just said, there's 2 constants in this business, me and you. And it's always going to be that. Now, my son is there. My son runs my production, 17 years old.
Wow.
The kid. You want to talk about Dan Beck?
Yeah.
Put myself in my son's position at 17, I would rule the world right now. This kid is amazing. But
look at, the reason that he is in that position, the reason that he has grown, 17, so you're what, 8-9 years into this process,
right.
From beginning to where it is now. He lived it. When you set that example for your kids, now all of a sudden they get hustle and they get hard work.
He's got hustle.
What we've, not necessarily how I was raised, but I think as society has this this vision of what your life is supposed to be like, and it's very easy to write a book on. It's very easy to write, grow up and you parent, and then you get good grades in high school, then you go off to college, and you get you meet your wife, and you get your job, and you have your 2.5 kids, and you get
it's like a cookie cutter life.
But what that does is it creates a cookie cutter for every generation that follows.
Exactly.
Because now your example, as a child is, okay, if you're lucky enough to grow up in a 2-parent household or whatever, you see, either dad goes to work and mom stays home, or maybe they both go to work, but you see the routine, and you get into it, and you go, okay, so,
and that becomes your routine.
Yeah, my example of growing up is that I do this, and then I do this, and then I do this, and then I've achieved what life success is. I have got a job, and I have maybe enough money to take that vacation and go somewhere fun with the kids. And
I have a house.
Yeah,
I have 2 cars. I have a boat. I'm happy.
I can afford.
That was my parents, man.
Rent the cabin, one month a year or 1 week a year, and then your kids fall into that. But when they see you up late, up early, they witness what it takes to take something from an idea on Thanksgiving morning to 50,000 jars a month, and they go, damn, that is all about hustle. And then you see somebody probably at age 17 who, again, will reflect back to when we were, there's nobody's trusting me with shit. Like put that kid on the fries,
right.
and watch him, and make sure you watch him. But it's all about what they bear witness to. And when you have, especially when you have 2 people working together on the same project, but even 2 people that are working on different things, but still just go get after it. The downtime is a luxury, and you utilize that as much as you can for family stuff. But when they see they're after it. Yeah, it eventually becomes a part of their vernacular.
Right. He goes after it.
Yeah.
He decided he wanted to. Our kids took piano lessons when they were younger. Mm-hmm. And if they didn't want to do it, we didn't make them keep doing it. It wasn't a thing. So he's like, I'm gonna buy a guitar. Okay. Do you want lessons? No. I want to teach myself.
Wow.
All right. So he gets a guitar. He's playing. The kid's getting pretty good too. He's getting really good. Then he comes to me. I think I'm gonna buy a drum set. So what are you gonna do? So I'm gonna teach myself drums. So I talked to a buddy of mine in a local band, and we had his help picking out a good drum set that he could buy. Mm-hmm. So here we are, 6 guitars later, 1 drum set, just bought a new bass. The kid is like his own one-man band. He's like the next Dave Grohl, apparently.
Nice. Not a bad route to be on.
No. But he's taught himself. And now he's like, hey, Mom. So he's back in piano lessons. 17 years old, back in piano lessons. This kid's got more drive than... I wish I had that drive at 17.
Yeah.
There's nothing he will not be able to do.
But the reason he's like that is because he witnessed it. He witnessed what it's like to have to learn how to pivot, to have that force change.
Do you think I want to agree with you, I really do, but I want to disagree with you too, because if you saw somebody working like that at 17, do you think you would have been like, oh man, I got to do the same thing? I wouldn't have. I would have been like, look at that. Look at that chump. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to smoke this blunt.
And you did.
Exactly.
And you did.
Yeah. I maybe it is because I'm his dad and he sees it and he sees the hustle that goes with it, or maybe it's just him.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just the mind. What does Dan Beck's dad do? Did he see his dad hustling like that? Right. Because I don't know anybody that hustles like Dan Beck.
No, that's a tough thing to find, especially in youth.
Yes.
I think,
and my kid's gonna blow Dan out of the water. So Dan,
Dan, you've just been called out.
You're on notice,
got
buddy.
Called out, dude. Up your game. Time to go next level.
That's it.
But you think about even the examples that we've talked about, and a lot of this stuff gets a little circular, but
it really does.
With the way in the era, because we're within 3 or 4 years of each other, that same things were just so fucking different.
Way.
Right now, we are in a time where everything is on demand. Everything is easy access. You want to learn how to play guitar. You want to learn how to,
you click on YouTube.
You go to YouTube and you can learn how. Everything that they could teach you in a 4-year college is available for you on the internet.
Yep.
Anything you want to learn to do as far as a hobby, as far as a career, and you can also make a career out of being on YouTube, which apparently that's my son's goal, is to be a YouTube star. But they're making 8 figures. It's just stupid.
Playing video games, dude.
And other people
watch.
Playing
video games.
And other people watch it.
My kids watch those.
Yeah, mine too.
What are you doing? I'm watching his walkthrough on this game. Why don't you just play the game? Well, because it's more fun to watch him play it. No.
But that's the thing though. And I have a good buddy of mine who is one of the top Call of Duty players in the world. He's just phenomenal and does the video thing. He's got he's got
all the subscribers and stuff.
Yeah, and I was like when he first mentioned it, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing this live thing this weekend." I'm like, "Yeah," and I checked it out, and I was just like, "Now I fucking get it." It's like, I mean, especially with the way that the graphics and everything are these days in video games, it's like watching a freaking movie. It was just
instead
so cool.
of like the old Sega that we had that you played some NFL football on, and the guys looked like little.
Yeah, nobody wants to fucking watch somebody play like Super Mario World, the original. Like, ooh, let's watch Duck Hunt.
I would have killed it back then.
Oh man, I'd have duck hunted some shit. But but just the way that the ease and convenience of life, it's so much different than go outside and play till it's dark and then come in and it's time for dinner, and again setting up that routine where now kids can go in so many different directions because of the technology that's out there. You can go in one direction where I think it's, I don't want to say super duper lazy, but it can be. You can fall into that trap of I'll just watch, I'll be an observer, or you can go, I can use these these technological tools and learn, or I can create my own. And the amount of knowledge that's out there is it's infinite, and it keeps on growing every day. So we're in such a different time period where I think even predating us, in the post hunter-gatherer days, but in Midwest farm days, grew up at the farm, dad grew up on the farm, learned how to do the farm, the kid grew up on the farm, and it was just kind of that's what you learned. You saw your dad get up and your parents get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and they went out and milked the cows and they hit the field. And
so you did the same.
Yeah. Now it's so much more fast paced in technology, but to have kids, to swing back to yours at 17, who's like getting after it. I do think there is some kids are self-driven. We've talked about
I believe that.
We talked about Dan Beck more on this episode than we talked about Dan Beck on his own episode. But there's something you can.
That's mad respect right there.
That's mad props, brother. Yeah. But you can have that kind of internal instinct, but it goes the next level, I think, when you have that instinct and you also are witnessing hustle happening around you.
Yeah, it goes. And I'm gonna jump back to you're talking about the video games and people playing that and they're doing the YouTube stuff, but I put that is just like the iceberg. Mm-hmm. You don't know all the stuff that all you see is their video. Yep. You don't know about all the production. Well, you do. Yeah. You know about all of that
behind the scenes.
Most people that my 10-year-old son, he watches these videos and stuff, and he doesn't know about setting up the room, making sure the camera's right, making sure that you're superimposed over your game or all the stuff, and explaining it and how many times they've probably had to go through and take the takes, and they don't know all that stuff that goes with it. I bet that's as much of a hustle as anything, don't you think?
I think it's a hustle in a way that maybe isn't always thought of as hustle, because you can be sitting even at this point, like this, sitting in this room doing this podcast, it's not out hitting the streets and it's not out doing all these other things, but if a kid is sitting in and learning. And
how many podcasts have you done since you started this? 35, 34?
35, yeah. This is number 36. You're number 36. Congratulations.
Thank you. Hey, Leroy Butler.
There you see.
First Lambo Leap,
developed the Lambo Leap.
Yep.
Reggie White tossed him the ball, and rest is history.
Exactly. But look at that. You've done that in a matter of months.
Yeah.
A matter of months. Think about the hours you have in each one of those. That's hustle, brother. That's hustle.
Yeah.
And now you're expanding off. I'm watching videos of you running, and all I'm saying is, fuck you, man. Now you make me feel like you make me feel like shit because I'm watching you run, and it's got graphics on it. It's like 5:35. I've already got 5 miles in. I'm like, you fucking dick.
It's superimposed the flames behind me because I'm going so fast, But I think that what I have learned to develop and is I've always kind of been workout's just been kind of a part of my life since even before. I mean, my wife and I have been together for 12 years. We have a 9-year-old, but even before that, like it was just kind of something it's always been there.
Right.
But it just kind of became like part of a thing. Like I was like, oh yeah, no. And then I'd take time off and I'd be like, oh, this sucks. And I went back to it. But now it's so much, I think, less about it is about the results because but it's more about this kind of calloused mind, feeling, developing a sense of accomplishment like right away in the morning. Not because I'm like, oh, wanted to run 10 miles today, or I wanted to, run and then lift, or it's because I wanted to just get up and do something that I was like, and get my blood flowing and get the day started so that the rest of the day, they say you're supposed to do at least do one thing a day that sucks, because it prepares you for things that could come up. You're like, oh, that sucked. Yeah. And then something else will present itself. You're like, you know what? I already got through that. I already went through that. And I think, from the standpoint that I'm at in this podcast, being part of a much larger picture, a much larger thing that I'm working on under the I would say cover of darkness, because it's really fucking dark at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it is. No kidding.
And
you run on these mean streets of Altoona?
I do. And they're not mean, but they're fucking hilly, man. I tell you what, this is not flatland area, man. No. This is up and down. I'm like, oh, it feels so good. Oh, shit. Incline. No. But there's just something about really creating a full and a lot of it is because like the rest of the stuff that I'm doing currently is a lot of sedentary stuff, so I'm just kind of I'll sit here and I'll do fine.
How far is the school from here?
It's actually
6 blocks.
It is about 1.5 miles. I know because I run past it.
So you run past it. It's 1.5 miles. He's 9.
He's 9.
Walk home.
He wants to. Like, that was like his big thing. Not to get off on a kid tangent, but he's always been a kid, and he's kind of my whole like world.
Yeah.
And so we went from a phase of life where he was like super duper attached to us. Mm-hmm. And so drop off at school became like this thing that I dreaded, because I would take him to school, get out of the car, walk him into the school, walk him to his classroom, take him to his locker, walk him to the door, and he would not want me to leave. Like, how about you just stay here? I'm like, no. At some point, someone's going to go, who's the weird guy with all the tattoos, dressed in all black in the snapback?
Dude, he's local famous. Don't worry about him.
It's fine. Yeah, they don't know.
He's local famous.
As the parent-teacher organization does not have any idea. But
probably not.
But we went from that to like the next year it kind of progressed. The next year progressed to, last year in 3rd grade, it was take him to school, get out, take him to the, front doors, and he would go in and walk all the way in and go to school. And then 4th grade came, and he's just like Mr. Motherfucking Independent. He's like, nope, you will drop me off at the
don't even get out of the car.
Drop off. You don't have to get out. I'll get out. I'm gonna walk in. And then like the first week we started picking him up. I pick him up from school, and
does he make you pick him up like a block away so his friends don't see you now?
No, we're not there yet. That's probably 5th grade. He's like, no, Dad. But no, he's his first thing I want to do is like, I think I want to start walking home. I'm like, buddy, I love you. Like, you know that, right? And he's like, yeah, I know, I understand. I'm like, I don't trust you like in your room for more than like 10 minutes. And there's no, it's Altoona. We're not talking like heavy traffic area.
No.
But at the time that he would be walking home, it's a little more hectic. I'm like, I don't like necessarily trust you to be in your room for more than 15 minutes without checking on you, because something's getting rewired, drilled into the wall. Yep. One time I walked in and he was like taking apart a weather radio just to see what it looked like on the inside. I'm like, super duper smart, not quite ready to trust you to cross the street by yourself. Damn. That could be helicopter parenting too. But
yeah, it could be.
But I digress.
When I was 9, I think I was already living on my own.
I was, yeah. Pretty much was selling cigarettes for bus money.
Yeah, exactly. I was walking back and forth to school and stuff like that at 9.
Oh yeah, I was totally a latchkey kid.
Yeah. I was just my parents got up. Both blue collar factory workers just kept food on the table and did what they had to do. Got up, went to work every day. I don't think my dad ever missed a day of work. I cannot remember in my life my dad being sick and missing work. Wow. And it was at a factory. That's
even more impressive.
You're right. Yeah. It's not, working your own business and not missing a day of work. Great. He worked at a factory, never missed a day of work. My mom, the only time I think she ever missed work is when I was sick. So my mom would get up and she'd be at work at 5 a.m. or something like that. Or she'd call me to wake me up to go to school. Wow. So that was how it was. when we were younger, we had to do it all for ourselves. My kids, man, they got it made.
yeah.
My daughter's school it's not a mile from our house.
No, not quite.
No.
Closer.
It's not a mile, and she either gets a ride or takes the bus.
Uh-huh.
I can't even believe when I was younger, where I grew up, if you lived within 2 miles of the school, you couldn't get the bus.
Yeah, it wasn't an option.
It wasn't.
The bus, I'll tell you what, the bus is a fucking option here, and it's like I said, it's a mile and a half.
And you have the option to put him on a bus.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to ride the bus. Because he gets up plenty early. This year he does, but like in years past, he was like, I'm going to have to drag you. And I would get him up. I remember getting him up last year in 3rd grade, and as I was getting him up and out of bed, I'm like, look, the fucking bus just went by. You're lucky. You're blessed.
Yeah.
You're lucky and blessed.
Yeah.
That we take you to school.
There we
go.
go.
It is such a different environment. I think it all ties back up into a nice package about showing the youth that or millennials or Gen Z now. I think we're in the Gen Z. I think my kid's a Gen Z or whatever that.
He's not a millennial?
No. Gen Z is the new
When did
the
that
new rage?
What's the year break off?
Radio sent me into something to try to learn to classify people, and I think that
you drank through that class, didn't you?
God, not through it, but I was definitely hungover as fuck when it was going on. I'm like, don't offer me an open bar and expect tomorrow to be anything but non-productive.
Right.
But and I understand the labeling, and I think it's from a marketing standpoint, I think it's a good classification. But I think there's so many examples of millennials who in the world, I think contextually they get pigeonholed as the lazy generation. But I'll tell you what, there's some fucking hustlers in that.
There are.
And you know why they are? Because there's a lot of them that aren't. And those motherfuckers are working for them.
Exactly.
Like, you want a job? Yeah, you're working for me. I'm the boss, and I'm 25, and you're 23.
Exactly.
And it's just ridiculous.
I always told my kids, be the nerd. Be the nerd in school. I would rather.
Yeah.
I wanted to be so cool when I was younger, and I knew everybody. I played football. I knew I wanted to be so cool, and I told my kids, be the nerd, because everybody's going to work for you.
And I had that realization too. I think way too late in life,
right?
To be like, man, when I was, getting to wear the jersey on Fridays, football Fridays, you get to wear the jersey at school. You're like, and your cheerleader girlfriend,
and you got your cheerleader on your arm.
She had the away jersey. It was just like, yeah, this is what it's about. And then all the nerds were, with their pants hiked up and glasses and fucking goofy haircuts. Yeah, that person was like Steve fucking Jobs,
exactly.
Or those are the guys that went off and developed all these amazing products that us as the cool kids were like, I can't wait to have the iPhone 11.
Yeah,
fucking A.
That nerd I sat next to in biology made.
Yeah, he's going, thank you for just spending $1,000 on your phone.
Yep,
jock. How's that professional football career working out?
No,
it tailed off.
Yeah,
tailed off there a little bit towards the end. But there's so many stories of
and the millennials. What I'm noticing about millennials is I do a lot of reading. Because the market right now is super difficult to get anybody to work. Mm-hmm. And you got one side of the political spectrum that says you have immigrants or somebody else taking the jobs that are out there.
Right.
But then you have the other side, which is, in my mind, the real side, that people don't want to work.
Right.
And it's not that they don't want to work. They don't want to work for someone else. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of entrepreneurship in that millennial class. If you look at it that way, a lot of them have a drive to do something bigger, to be a part of something bigger than working 9 to 5 at a factory.
Right.
And I think I believe a lot of good could come out of that generation if they get over themselves.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of smarts there, man.
I think there's a lot of genius there because of some of the factors we talked about. You want to know how to do something, it's instantaneous to learn.
Right.
And you want to have, the Encyclopedia Britannica is no longer coming to your house for delivery.
Did you have those?
Oh God, yeah.
I did too in my room when I was a kid.
I don't know if I ever fucking picked one up. I was just like, if I stack these up, I can get out the window. I
learned how to make a Viking boat out of wood, out of an encyclopedia.
See? They did have a purpose.
I could do that on YouTube right now. Yeah. And my
Simple.
dad wouldn't let me use any power tools either. That sucked.
My kid just finds them. I'm like, how did the fucking drills get in your room? I don't understand what's happening here. But when you have access to all that knowledge, and on the flip side of it, you also live in a filtered world where you can see people making money just because of Instagram or
no kidding, right?
So you have all this knowledge, and you also have, if I put my life in filters,
and
maybe
who figured out
to it.
Who figured out how to monetize that?
Somebody did.
Think about that. Think about how
did.
genius that was, that somebody was on Instagram taking pictures. Hey, you know what? How about if I'm an influencer for you? Right. I have 100,000 people that follow me. Why don't you pay me to advertise your product? Yeah. It's better than a TV show. It's better than some radio station.
It's amazing.
I'm kidding. I like the radio.
Yeah. You have to say that. I don't. I don't have to say that at all. But no, but that leads into a lot of things that I've now learned about the tools that are available, readily available, and at a level freely available.
I drink Monster just because of you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Monster Energy, for probably sponsoring the podcast. Slid that in there.
Yeah.
Hashtag Monster Podcast. But there's when you are given, and the thing is that when big companies are starting to learn that, everybody from and yes, Monster is one of them. Car dealerships. I mean, scroll down the list of people that you follow.
Right.
And when somebody is, pitching you, they don't have to pitch it anymore. All you have to do is have it in a shot or in a video or in something, or it's in the background.
Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, it's a big Monster poster right behind me. They know what they're doing. But then you understand that this generation, and not even this generation, because I think it's expanded itself to other generations. They go, no, this is. You want people's attention? People's attention is on their phone.
Totally.
It's not on, it's not on the radio.
It doesn't matter if you're 10
it's right there.
Or if you're 60. Yeah. My mom is 65 years old, and her phone is in her hand all the freaking time. Yeah. And this is nothing new. Honestly, think about it. Because if you look back, let's go back to the 50s and 60s and the 70s. McDonald's targeted kids with Happy Meals. And if you can get the kids into the restaurant, the parents are automatically going to follow, and you're going to build generations. Joe Camel, having cartoon characters and cigarettes. People, they knew who to. It's just a paradigm shift. Now, let's just put it right in your social media. Yeah. All of our advertising now comes on social media for the most part, because you can put a blast out there, a sponsored ad on Facebook, Instagram, any of those, and you can target who's going to see it. Mm-hmm. All I can target, if I'm on the local TV or the local radio, all I can target is their listeners and hope that one of them is one that's going to pick it up and do it. Unless, like when I did things with you at the Golf Open, at the X Open and things like that, where we would golf and I could give away product and actually get in front of people.
Yeah, grassroots stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
We've always said our product, if we get it in their mouth, they're going to buy it.
Yeah,
that was it. And now I can't scroll through. Now I've learned that on sponsored ads on Facebook, you can click the button on the side and just say repetitive, and you won't see that one anymore because I see the same ones so often. But people are spending the money, man. It's monetizing it.
And when you talk about influencers, and I think that's where you do have that section of millennials who want to get to that level of 100,000 followers, because now what advertisers are realizing is that same thing, is that if I put a sponsored ad out there, somebody's gonna be like, oh, this. And a lot of times it can be crap content. If you have really good content, and people they're like, oh yeah, that was funny, or that was cool, that made me recall this emotion. That's one thing. But what they're starting to learn is that if you have your product, your brand, your image attached to something that people are gravitated towards,
automatically,
well, wait a minute. I can spend probably less money in my advertising budget than buying ads on TV, buying ads, on radio, buying ads on newspaper, if that's the thing. But you can just.
Is there still a newspaper?
I believe it's online. I think that's. I think they have they have Facebook pages. But yeah, you start to, when they started to understand that, and to use the Kardashians, which we used, I think, earlier in the podcast, when. Like, oh, well, XYZ Kardashian. I don't really know all their names. The one that did the thing in the Pornhub video. I remember her, I think.
That was Kim.
Oh, yeah, sorry, her. But when you have, like, their family is like, oh, well, like, you do makeup. Well, here, how about we XYZ brand of makeup? We'll put your name on our brand of makeup, and now you put it on. And all of a sudden, she's on there, oh, yeah, look at my Kylie Jenner brand of eyeliner.
And doesn't she have over, like, 1 million followers or something on Instagram?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I followed her for a little while because it came up as one of the hottest trending ones and stuff, and I followed it. I actually unfollowed her because, I want to see just pictures of you just standing there all the damn time.
Yeah.
Do
something.
Do something. Please.
But there's an example of somebody who took a very interesting route to fame and legit fortune. And
it all started with OJ. It all started with OJ.
I thought it started with Ray J.
No, OJ and the White Bronco.
Oh, man.
With his dad, because one of his attorneys was Kardashian.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So that started all the fame.
Yeah, Rob Kardashian. Wasn't Rob one of the Kardashians?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And now look at it. And I mean, look at what it's turned into with Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah.
Let's be
the artist formerly known as Bruce.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're an Olympian, and you go on, and hey, more power to her.
Yeah,
seriously,
absolutely.
It's you be you. I've always felt that you be you. If you're going to do it, do it full force.
Yeah,
and
there's something that it will always be sellable, and that is authenticity. 100%.
Exactly. They didn't do it by listing themselves in the yellow pages.
No.
I mean, Yellow Book did not sell them on, hey, listen, we're going to take your family and we're going to make you super famous. Just put an ad right here in the Yellow Pages, and everybody is going to follow you.
Yeah, for an extra $100, we can put you on the cover.
What?
It goes to like 100,000 people's homes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, today is so different. Even watching sports, I'm looking. You're almost as big of a Packer fan as I am, and
it's up there.
I appreciate that. Do you follow any of the Packer stuff or any NFL stuff?
Absolutely.
They are totally monetizing social media, where now the players are putting out videos after games and they're talking. Do you see the Smith boys? They put a video out like after every game. That, if you don't think that sparks following and monetizing their jerseys just at that.
Yeah, tell you what, we just bought a fucking $300 Bose Bluetooth speaker, and guess who's anytime there's the Packers getting off of a plane somewhere, hey, business in Dallas. Ooh, look, who's also tagged in here? Bose. Like, you think that didn't subconsciously sneak in there? We're like, oh, hey, we should look at is getting
Bose.
Getting Bose.
Yeah.
It's good.
I'm surprised I don't have Bose headphones on like right now.
Well, Bose, if you're listening.
I could use some headphones.
We could use some guest. I could use some new ones for the lead. I could use some new guest ones. Just throwing that out there as an option. But those are the kind of things that
totally.
When you look at entrepreneurship and why it is so big and why there's a movement towards it, is because people are finding that if you are willing to hustle, if you're willing to put in the work, and that's where the line is drawn. Everybody can put entrepreneur in their in their Facebook stat or in their profile.
Yep.
But those that put in the work and utilize the tools and learn how to use the tools on social media, because right now that is the best bang for your buck that is out there.
Totally.
If you're trying to reach a lot of people.
That and memes.
Yeah. You guys did a huge meme campaign there for a while.
Dude, it was awesome.
Sliding things out there. But that's the kind of content that I was mentioning earlier, is like, if you have things that are compelling and riveting and you're like, haha, that's funny, or, oh man, there was a jar of Chip Magnet Salsa in the episode of Big Bang Theory.
We were on Big Bang Theory a couple times, and we were on another Netflix original, Grace and Frankie.
Yeah.
They opened a jar and physically opened the jar, and he spilled it on himself. And it's like, whoa. And we memed the hell out of that. I mean, it was all over social media.
Capitalizing on it. But if you're willing to hustle and realize that the tools are out there, there is that whole cookie cutter lifestyle that we talked about.
Yep. But don't get me wrong.
Do this and you do that.
Those people, it's going to be just like the economy was, and just like everybody complains about right now, that the top 2%.
Right.
We used to do a lot of network marketing companies, and if you look at those, they're like, well, the top 3% in the country make $100,000 a year, and they give you all these statistics, and we're going to make you all that. Well, if you look at that company as a whole, only the top 2 to 3% are the ones that are making the big money. Mm-hmm. Just like any other business, just like anything else, just like the new social media, it's going to be the same. Right. Because it's not because only 2 to 3% make it; it's because only 2 to 3% believe in the hustle.
Yep. Absolutely.
Period.
There's no stronger of a statement than that. If you want it bad enough, and if you can rid yourself of the cloak of giving a shit about other people and their opinions and what they cast upon you, that was a huge overcoming that I recently went through. Was like, other people caring about whether, and you said it in a comical context. Don't take it as I'm talking about you, but people have seen, like you're showing all this stuff about you being motivated and getting up early.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not doing it because I'm telling you to do it. I'm just saying this is the path that I'm on. Here's what it's gained, for me.
Accountability.
If I don't practice what I preach, and I put a post up this morning that said, practice what you preach. Get up at the time you say you're going to get up. If I'm not being authentic to myself, then whatever.
You can't sell what you're doing then.
Exactly. And
I agree.
And I'm trying to own up to it and live it, and not, if I can inspire.
And you're looking great,
one
man.
person.
I mean, you're almost like bodybuilder form right there.
I didn't even pay you to say that.
Light heavyweight, but
yeah, definitely light. Yeah, I'm maybe featherweight division. I'm not fighting with McGregor just yet.
No.
But there's
you could though.
Well, he's on a hiatus.
Well, he's also getting old.
He's my boy. But there is.
If you're listening, Notorious MMA, if you're listening,
love to have you on the podcast sometime. Just saying, I got proper whiskey upstairs, and we'll make magic happen. You got to practice what you preach.
Completely.
If you want to put entrepreneur, or you want to put business owner, you want to put whatever in your Instagram profile,
then fucking do it.
You better go out and do it, and you better be willing to put in those 80 hours. And you know what? You better be willing to not get a lot of sleep, and you better be willing to continually learn. I think you talked about reading. That
Always.
Has been. And I'll be honest, is most of my stuff comes through audiobooks just because
Mine too.
I try to.
I don't have time to sit down and read a book.
Yeah, and I feel like if I can not accomplish two things at once, but I will definitely listen to a book while I'm running, and if I'm doing other things around the house, I have a notebook that I keep, and I'll have the book title, and if there's like, I'll stop it and rewind it and get back and jot those things down.
I have notepads of notes of things. Wow, I got to try this, or parts that I have to go back into on an audiobook that I was listening to, because you can bookmark those within Audible. Mm-hmm. Audible, if you're looking for another
just saying
another spot, just saying.
Hint, nudge.
Hashtag Audible.
Free credits.
Yes, free credits. Man, I tell you what, do you have the after we're off, I'll tell you a little hack on that. I'm not going to put it out there right now.
We'll keep that on the DL.
That's it.
It's on the DL.
But I listen to them, I put the bookmarks, and I have legal pads just full of notes of things that, wow, I should do that. And here's the thing. I am an entrepreneur. I am a hustle.
Yeah.
And I probably have 500 other things that I still need to get to.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
There's no time. There's no time.
And that's where that's overcoming obstacles. And I think that can be one of them. That can be like, oh man, I got this thing and I got this thing and I got this thing. But that in order to get there, you have to get through this particular, 6 months or this year, or we got to get to this level, and then then we can bring somebody else on, or we can put this in. But it's the quit that happens. I think a lot of times you'll have people that want it too fast. You want to be like, I want to have this company that starts off, and then I want to be able to take some time off because I'm going to be making. No,
time off.
You don't get to do that.
Time off.
If you find yourself, if you're consider yourself an entrepreneur or a hustler, and you find yourself with like free time, you're not doing it right.
Yeah, you're missing the boat somewhere.
If you're sitting around, you're like, I'm just gonna sit down and maybe binge watch this. No, you can't do that if you are continually trying to grow, and if you're putting things off and not attacking it right away. There was a great quote. I think it was I think it might have been from a meme where it was like, best advice you ever got from your dad. And one of the posts on there was, my dad always said, if it can be done in 5 minutes, do it right now.
Correct.
Because as soon as it's done, you go, well, shit, that was done. When you start like consciously thinking about all the things that you learn, and you're like, yeah, just do that. You won't find yourself with. And
I'm a horrible procrastinator.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to overcome.
It is just an internal thing, and I'm going to jump back to my constant.
Yeah.
She bitches constantly. Do this, and it's like, God. But if I didn't have it, chances are I'd procrastinate.
Yeah.
And not get it done at all. And so there's my drive. You always have to have somebody pushing you, whether it's seeing you on a video being like, God, that motherfucker, he's out again. Look at him
asshole,
running, making me look like shit. And knowing you personally goes a lot further than maybe somebody that follows you on Instagram that is like, wow, look at him out there, he's hustling. But there's no real accountability to that person because they don't know you. Mm-hmm. Me, I'm going to see you. I'm going to be at a plate. I'm going to be drinking a beer, and there's going to be Chris sitting there. He's like, oh, look at that guy all skinny and shit because he goes out and runs in the morning. Hey, what are you doing? Nah, shut up. I don't even. So
but to be fair, I will have a beer with you.
That's it.
Not that I run for the ice cold Rockies of a Coors Light, but I'll tell you what, at the end of the day, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have some beers.
No kidding. You gotta.
Hypocrisy goes only so far, people.
Exactly.
But that's it. You got to practice what you preach, though, and that's the big
Yeah.
You have to be a part of.
And I've said it 5 times: accountability. Whether you have somebody that holds you accountable, whether it's you holding yourself accountable, or whether that accountability on my part, just seeing, I watch, I'm going to bring him up again, Dan Beck. I see his. He's at the gym at 11 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I see you running at 4 o'clock in the morning. I see all this stuff, and it's like, man, if I'm gonna keep up in this game, man, this is what I got to do. So you do it, and you know, maybe I'm only holding myself accountable at that, but it's because of you, and it's because of Dan, and it's because of the other people that I follow. It's because of Gary V. That guy, Jesus.
Gary V.
And my wife just picked up on Gary V like 2 weeks ago.
She's about to go fucking like next level. Dude.
Watch out,
oh
dude.
my God.
I know. I love it.
Holy shit. Yeah, Gary V was one of the first people that when I got let go of radio, I was just, I'm not even sure how, by happenstance, I think it was probably a targeted ad because he is the king of knowing who he's talking to, and it just happened to hit at the right time, and I fell down the Gary V rabbit hole, and man, that's still a part of my arsenal of just not only motivators, because dude is jacked all the time, but also people who like have a real understanding of what like true entrepreneurship and true hustle is all about.
Yeah.
And the fact that your wife just found him, and she's already the hustler that she is.
She is. Yeah.
Watch out, world.
Yeah.
Watch the fuck out.
I know. It's and here's the thing. She's got this way about her. She's not going to be the one doing the work. Nah, she's
the boss.
She's gonna spin it, and she's gonna be like, you got to do this, 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 and it's gonna be, there goes my accountability at home. It's just shot. Now it's all based on Gary V. So we'll have to see how that goes.
By the way, Gary V, if you're Gary Vaynerchuk, if you're not busy, you want to take 15 minutes on the podcast, that'd be awesome. Just say hashtag Gary V.
Just take the time.
you got to have the time. But there's not to wrap on this, because I want to have you back on, because I think there's so many different avenues we can go down on this, because what it all boils down to is being able to take a shot, take your swing, to go for it, and being able to be in an environment with support. And I'm guessing when you got to a point, when the salsa got to a point where you're quitting your job, your reliable income, it's, the check's coming in, or, car sales, the commission's coming in. There had to have been people in your life that said, geez, man, like, are you sure? Like,
always.
You got 5 kids, the yarn room, like, how are you going to feed the frenzy there?
Yep.
All of the people who, a lot of times it is out of like, because they love you or because they care. They're like,
no, that's all out of jealousy.
They want. I think that's right. I think they want you to stay in a safe zone because they're in a safe zone.
Everybody stays in a safe zone here. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to snap this while we're doing it.
Snap away. Snap-a-palooza.
I don't believe that the people that are there with you, that are like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you should. Let's look at. Yeah, give me a what's up. There it is. That's Cope. Those people, they're always like, hey, don't do this, don't do that. Make sure, be safe. Everybody is always playing on the safe side, and they're not doing it with the concern for you. They're doing it because they wouldn't do it because it's not safe. Plus, I don't believe that the people that are in your life right now, when you're, for lack of a better term, when you're creeping on the come up, when you're really going through it, and when you're hustling and you're grinding, they're jealous. They're jealous that you're doing it and they're not, because they know deep down that maybe they could do it, but they're not willing to put the work in to do it. And then they're jealous because they see you doing what they want to do. And you lose friendships that way. You're going to. And that's, I think, if you talk to any entrepreneur that is out there, the people that were their friends when they started their hustle, chances are not their friends now.
Yeah.
They don't say it. Because when I was in network marketing years ago, I met with a guy, And he was one of the top people in the company. And he said, you want to be around people who edify you. You want to be around people, and then you read stats on, your income is going to be the same as the 5 people that you hang around with the most.
Yourself with,
Correct. Mm-hmm. So you look at that, and now do you want to hang out with your friends in that hang out at the bar, and they have their 3 to 7 job, they work their 8 hours and they do it for $15 an hour, and they've been doing that for 20 years. They got great health insurance, but everything is fine, but they're still only making $40,000 a year.
Right.
And I say only 40. I don't want to knock $40,000 because any amount of money you make, as long as you can live on it, is perfect.
If you can live on it and you're happy with it,
exactly. Do that. But if you want to make $100,000 a year, you can't hang around $40,000 a year people.
Right.
If you want to make $200,000 a year, you can't hang around $100,000 a year people. You need to move yourself to that next echelon, the people that edify you, that are going to bring that out in you, and you're going to lose friendships.
Yeah.
You are, but you're going to gain new ones. So just that hustle, it's real, and I don't believe that you always be a 5%er. I mean, I see your stuff.
Yeah. Follow the 95%. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're going to be part of that 95%, I can't be your friend.
Right.
Because I don't want to be part of that 95%. I'm better than that.
Yeah. There's a great analogy that ties into what you just said about the 5 people you surround yourself with, and that's to use it in an athletic sense. If you can run a 100-yard dash and you can outrun your 5 closest friends, you're the fastest one in your group. You outrun them. You're fast. You're faster than all of them. When you step up into that next level, that next echelon of people, and you are coming in last.
Exactly.
But your time is better.
Yep.
You're actually running faster, yet you came in last instead of coming in first. That's when you start to realize, when I put myself in a position where I have people that are either further on their journey, further down their path than I am, I'm not going to be the lead dog, but man, my time got better.
And you're still ahead of the others.
Exactly. Even further. And there's a tough part about being okay with that. There's a tough part when you have, especially if you have long-term friendships. If you waited till you're 39 years old to figure out your life and you go...
How much depression have you had through this?
I don't know if it's depression. I think what I've gone through on this is a lot of things that I thought were real and constant, friends, former coworkers, that I thought, man, no matter what happens, we're still going to be good because we're all kind of running the same race. We're all kind of in it.
You were all running the same race.
And then when you get out and you go, damn, I guess it wasn't what I thought it was.
Right.
It was a facade. I think that, I don't know if it was depression. It was just a lot of realizing, a lot of coming to grips with the fact that you got to let go of it.
Yeah.
That if, they say that, depression is living in the past, anxiety is living too far in the future. Once you kind of go,
I got them both.
You're just battling each other, just
constantly.
You need a monster. Just let them
That's
fight
it, right?
Pretty soon you're going to be out with me rustling bears in the morning. It's get that shit out of your body, But there's been a lot of realizations, and I think with all aspects of life, with the fitness part, with the career path part, I've had offers and options and applied for positions to go back into radio, and I'm like, there is no way in hell I will ever work for anybody ever again.
That is a bold statement, brother.
I will not, having experiencing basically 2 firings in 1 year, working for somebody else.
Yeah, that's a hard take, right?
But being able to understand how I took the first one and understand the difference 5 months later when I took the second one.
Yeah.
And just how eye-opening it was to sit across the table from somebody, say, we can't afford you anymore. We're going to have to move on. We're going to have to part ways. And not taking that as a blow, but taking that as it's fucking on now.
Just like us with the farmer's market.
Just all right, guess what? You've just,
it's a paradigm shift, and you need to make it.
You've let the tiger out of the cage.
Yeah, you have 2 choices.
Yeah.
Sit and dwell on it and be depressed, or just do what you're doing and kill it.
And that's, you have to have that mentality, and you have to be okay with letting shit go. And then when things approach, being able to pivot, move through them and say, that's okay. And failure. You have to be okay with failure and accepting it for what it is and learning, like, well, why did this fail? Why did this not work?
Right.
Instead of letting failure become your, well.
But you have to accept failure too. And I think what a lot of people, what their problem is they don't accept the failure. They blame it on somebody else.
Oh, yeah. Victim's mentality.
Yeah.
100%.
Everybody,
100%.
It's this person's fault that I didn't do this. It's this person. No, it's your fault.
Yeah.
You know, with me, when I look at, all right, our numbers, what didn't I do to get where I needed to be here? What didn't I do? And I've been, I'm going to use your term, I've been blessed, really. I have a great team that works with me. Our sales guy that has been with us, Nick, has been, when we first started this, Alexis started, and I was at work every day, and she needed somebody to watch the kids so she could go to farmers markets, and so she could cook salsa in our own kitchen. But she needed somebody to handle the kids, so she put an ad up on the job board at UWEC, and we got Nick. He was going to school. He was a senior. He was going to be a teacher, so he had to get to time with the kids. And I mean, he was perfect with kids. He was great. He watched us come up, and the second year, he was like, "Well, I can't." My guidance counselor said I can't watch the kids this summer because he was going to be a super senior. He said I have to do something else to get experience.
Right.
So we said, why don't you do markets? So he did some markets for us, and that was his other experience for the summer. Now he's my national sales manager.
Wow.
But I've had a great team around me where nobody has that victim mentality, where we didn't do this and it's our fault. What did we learn from this? Because I've always believed, even back in the car business when I was doing it, as long as if you make a mistake and it's an organic mistake, meaning that it was the first time that happened, you learned something from it and it won't happen again, then it was a learning experience, not a mistake. You needed to learn that. And we've learned everything. I didn't know anything about grocery stores, distributors, food processing. I didn't know any of this stuff. We didn't, and we went in and it was like, what? Wait, we can't do that. How's this going to work?
Right. And
you figure it out.
You got to figure it out.
You measure, monitor, and adjust. It's no matter what it is in your life, whether it's getting up at 4 o'clock to go out and run. You got to measure, monitor. Well, I went to bed at midnight. It's going to be hard to get up at 4. Maybe I need to go to bed at 10. Maybe I need to go to bed at 9. My biggest thing is I'm a workaholic.
Yeah.
My wife has told me 100 times, you're a workaholic. You need to be home. You need to be doing this. And it's like, well, if I'm home, there's not going to be a home because I'm not going to be able to pay for the home.
Right.
So let's get it to a point. And another thing that I learned back in my network marketing days, what are you willing to give up now to have what you want later on?
Yep.
And I've never missed a piano recital with my kids. I've never missed one of my daughter's gymnastics meets. I've never missed any big event like that because that's why I do this. So I can be at those things. So I make those things happen. But do I miss dinners at home? Yeah. Man, I look back. My wife and I were talking the other day. We were so poor when we first started having kids together. We didn't have any money. There were times that, I've always been the one my kids eat first. Always. It's always been that. When I was growing up, my mom made dinner. My dad ate first because he's the one that put the food on the table.
Right.
So I knew what it was like growing up to be like, wow, there just wasn't enough food, to be hungry, and my kids will never know what that's like.
Right.
And I will drive and I will figure it out. And I've gone without meals, that I'll have a little bit. And my son, when he was growing, he's like, hey, there's another pork chop left. Can I have that? Go ahead.
Yeah.
You're never going to be hungry in my house.
Right.
And I'll do whatever it takes. Most people are not willing to do what it takes. And I see that in you. You're doing it. Matter of you're doing it at a higher level than I am, and it's
just earlier. it's just really a time of day thing. It's more that it's really fucking early.
Yeah.
But when you give up on the quit is an eye-opening thing. When you give up on not believing in what can happen with hard work and dedication. When that was just a thing that was out there, when it's like, oh, you put in the work and you're like, really?
Yeah.
And you get comfortable and you get in your comfort zone.
But back then, putting in the work was because then you could get into management.
Right. Yeah. Then you can get to middle management.
Yeah.
You're not fucking. I didn't have a college degree, so I was getting into middle management. They weren't gonna be like, here's the keys. No, we're not quite giving you the keys.
If you work hard, you'll get into management position and you'll have people that answer to you. Now, if you work hard, everybody says the sky's the limit, but there's stuff past the sky, buddy.
Yeah, there's no finish line. I talked about that. I think that's from the David Goggins book, Can't Hurt Me. About the finish line is non-existent.
No,
there is like where you are, and then we're going to be next, and we're going to be next, and we're going to be next, and there's no. If you have that mentality and you can stick with it,
yep,
there is no limit. There's no like, oh well, I know even if I got to middle management, I'd probably be maxing out my life at probably 55, 60K a year, and that's the ceiling. That is the roof. There's no more, and then. There you go.
Yeah.
There's your cookie cutter.
That's
here.
The fleas in Zig Ziglar's jar, man. You put fleas in a jar, they jump until they hit the top. You can take the top off after a little while, and they never jump past the top.
And it's always the best part of it is results and getting results and moving the needle forward. And there's going to be days that suck. You've witnessed this. There's days that you don't get the sleep. There's days that you don't get something accomplished. But if you are moving forward, if you are making a step, that's progress.
Yep.
I liken it to fitness and working out and doing it. It's like, you know what? I work out every single day. And there's days I don't want to. And there's days that I really would like to sleep in. I don't. Not because I'm like super duper. I'm going to, next summer going to see me shirtless. There's a reason that I always have a shirt on, because this is the whitest skin that has ever been. I am like almost all Irish. Okay?
Hit the tanning beds.
It's a different shade of red. Then it's a weird. But this is more about a mentality and a mindset, and days that suck and I don't want to do it. I have those days probably 3 or 4 days a week. And maybe it's just going through the motions. Maybe when I run, I'm not running at my pace. Maybe I don't run as far as I know that I can, but I did it. And at the end, when I'm wrapped up and taking a shower, I'm like, all right, I push through. And you have to be able to push through in all context, because shit's going to suck. And you're going to get to a point where maybe your business starts to make some money.
How many times have you wanted to quit? Today? I mean, right?
Right. Well, as soon as we started this podcast, and you started talking about, you're a Cubs fan. No. I said, I just had to get it in.
But digs here and there.
Hey,
if you don't want to quit every day,
yeah,
you're not doing it right. And success happens one step after other people fail.
Yeah. And I look at my day today, and I had, I got up, I did my thing in the morning. I was up, got my kid up and ready off to school, dropped him off, came home, finished up the dishes, did a couple things around the house. I had a podcast at 9:30, rocked that out. I was literally just wrapping up as you messaged me that you're at my door. Came upstairs, got to we're rocking this out right now. I have another thing to go to after this is done. Then I got to pick my kid up. There's times where I'm like, fuck, dude, like seriously.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just, I'll message my dude for my 1:30, and I'll just be like, hey,
let's like you did to me yesterday.
Like I did do yesterday. Yeah. That was, and I'll off the air, I'll tell you what that was. We need to wrap up about some things anyway. But about some opportunities, I should say. Opportunity.
There we go.
But yeah, you have to get to a point where you're like, fuck. And then when you push through it and you get it done, and it's like the end of the day.
You just raised your ceiling.
Shit, I can do that.
Yep, you just raised your ceiling.
I have a podcast I recorded earlier this week that I got to get edited and put out for 4:30. Oh my God, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, you got this.
I'm gonna do it.
Yep.
And if you can keep that going, that forward momentum going, what's next week bring? What's next month bring? What does next year bring? Who had this post? Somebody had this post, and we'll wrap on this, but I'm gonna get you back in here very soon. There are less than 3 months left in this decade. In this decade, people talk about decades, and you think of this as like this, oh my God, the 80s, the 70s, the 90s, and you go, oh my God, a decade.
Yeah.
And then you're at the end of a decade, and you go, holy shit, like we just went through it. And probably in the history of mankind, the last decade, maybe a little more, has been the fastest growing technological advancement decade ever.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember what the iPhone 4 was like?
No.
No. because it's so different.
Was that a decade ago?
It's 12.
No,
It's
couldn't have been.
close. But still, in
Really?
this time period, we've gone from, Blackberries,
Yeah.
to the iPhone, to now the iPhone 11.
To having an iPod. Do you remember when you used to go and listen to
Music on an
instead of just on your phone?
Yeah.
I had a separate iPod. I had my phone because my phone at that time was a BlackBerry.
Yeah.
And I got my first iPod when I won it when I was in the car business. And one of my lenders got it for me. And it's the coolest. I got an iPod.
Yeah.
I got it. And then I figured out how I could watch movies on the iPod. Oh, man, that was just amazing when you got that technology.
The screen, next level, dude. Next level.
Now, man, I flip on my iPad. I watch Netflix while I'm on the treadmill or while I'm on the elliptical at the gym on their Wi-Fi. It's like, what?
Yeah. We're about to be 5G, people. 5 fucking G. I mean,
what else?
That's the thing.
What's next?
Do you know?
I have no idea.
Yeah, we're in, and the reason I bring it up is because we're in this. You got to be in it, and I think that a wrap on is present. Like, be present, be now, be able to push through late nights.
Yep.
Having to work all day, being up and still 11 o'clock at night, you're putting labels on.
Yeah,
you push through that because you're there. You're like, it's this, like, tomorrow, this shit's gonna pay off.
Exactly.
And you get that order out, or you get that podcast done, you get it released, and somebody hears it, somebody buys it, it ends up on a fucking TV show, and you're like, do you know why that happened? Because you fucking stayed up and did that.
Yep.
Future you is begging you right now, go fucking kick today's ass.
Yeah, go do it.
He's going, hey, it's future you is hanging out in fucking 2021 going, you know what I would like to be doing right now? Is kicking the world's ass.
Yeah.
Are you going to put in the effort today? Because I can't do it now. I can't do it in the future. You didn't do it in the past. You better do it today.
And I'll still be doing the same stuff in 2021 that I am doing now.
Kicking ass.
Why? When there's no limit to what you can do, why should you stop when you hit a specific point? When is enough?
No.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't hit it yet.
Dismiss the golden years are not a thing, people. It's another time of life to just grow and gain knowledge.
That's it.
And be present. If you're enjoying every moment, if you're present every moment, even through the times that suck.
Oh, I'm not enjoying those moments. I'm there, but I'm not enjoying them.
But you're stronger.
That
you're
is
smarter.
true. That is.
And the next time it doesn't suck as much.
That is true.
And then you start to develop this, callous brain, callous mentality where you're
hey, I've dealt with that before. Here's how I get through it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Been there, done that. Oh, this is a little bit different. Oh, that's cool. I'm comfortable here. I'm comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah. That is it too. Yes, absolutely.
Online, what's the website?
www.chipmagnetsalsa.com.
Good shit.
Nice
man.
and easy. Thank you for having me. I
No,
appreciate
dude,
it.
First off, congratulations on the success.
Thank
and
you.
There's no ending point.
No.
And so we'll get you back on here and we'll continue to divulge info.
Yeah.
Pass the word.
We can teach people something.
We can.
I believe we can.
I think if people are willing to listen and take a step, it's amazing.
I got to hit one more Dan Beck thing.
DB.
Damn, I can't help it. He said in the podcast with you that by not doing something, it's not a priority. Instead of saying, I don't have time to do that, that's not a priority for me to do right now.
Yeah.
Changing.
It's
absolutely. And that's it. And that's what I take something out of every one of your podcasts. Some of them, I got to tell you, the people don't relate to me.
Right.
Because that's not my demographic.
Not your wheelhouse.
Yeah. But the ones that do, man, I pull something out of them every time. And that's why I appreciate when you were like, hey, we're going to get you on. I'm like, hell yeah. Because you got a good thing going. Keep it going and raise it up and do me a favor. Always have it right here. This is comfortable.
in the lab?
In the lab.
The lab's chill, man.
Yeah. What you got to do is get a live feed of your podcast.
It's on the list.
It is.
Yeah. It's on the list. Eventually we're gonna get to a YouTube live thing.
People got to see this.
Yeah, it's fun down here. It's and when next time we'll have it at night, and we'll have some beers in here, and then shit just gets
even better.
Because I still believe life is about balance, and you have to have those moments of like it's cool.
Yep.
I may be about running at 4:30, but I'm also about a beer at 4:30 p.m.
Hell yeah.
That's how I roll. All right, awesome, Jim. Thank you so much for being on the podcast, man, and I appreciate your time. And let's do it again.
Hell yeah.
Thank you so much for listening and being a dedicated podcast listener. By the way, if you are not subscribed yet, make sure that you do that, whichever platform that you're on, whether you're listening on your iPhone, on the Apple Podcast app, or you're on your Android device, Google Podcast, Stitcher, and Spotify. We're on the iHeartMedia app. We are on radio.com's app. We are everywhere with the Welcome to Cooperville podcast. Hit that subscribe button, and every time a new episode drops, and we've been just banging them out lately, you're going to get an update to let you know to listen. Also, to get other updates, follow us on all the social medias. We are on Facebook, Twitter, and the Instagram. So searching Welcome to Cooperville, you'll find us. Give us a follow, give us a like, and join the journey. And learn all about the 95% rule, which we are killing over here. Big special shout out to my friend Nick and Holistic Remedies for all your CBD and beard oil needs. Make sure you head up to holisticremedies.net. Enter the promo code Cooper10 and get 10% off all of your orders. Again, that is at holisticremedies.net. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Welcome to Cooperville podcast on the web at welcometocooperville.com.